Hello YouTube, Shintai your girl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. Yes, it's been a while since I put out any videos at all because I've been kind of under the weather, but I've recovered enough just to do a small little deck profile. And if you didn't know already, your eyes are not deceiving you. First a little background. As many of you know, I've joined up with the Salvation automated dueling program for my primary dueling needs for Yu-Gi-Oh! And they have a very active forum, which I recently just joined, and it revealed, and I found out later that that not only do they have an anime card database, but you can also request anime cards from the anime that are not in print right now in either the OCG or the TCG. So there was always one deck that I always wanted to come out, but never seemed to come out for whatever reasons outside of the Time Lords. But I understand why the Time Lord deck was never produced, because, well, the Time Lords are fucking broken. But it's the Armor deck. For those of you who don't know, the Armor deck. Well, first I'll just let me go finish my story. So anyway, I made up a thread saying I wanted to see some armor cards, and the administrator, Chibi, hello if you're watching, said they considered armor cards originally, but there wasn't a lot of demand for them. But nevertheless, they were considerate of it. It went through all the standard procedures. They have procedures for this sort of thing. They have to, as far as I know, they have to look over the cards, and they have to change the card data or intra around so that the decks aren't too broken, make them at least playable, because anime cards are broken, needless to say. I plan to do a series on that. Anime cards are broken. But anyway, so what do I look up when I look in the update news section of the Salvation launcher? Why, a whole new set of cards, and among them, armor cards. Yes, so I want to thank the administrator Chibi for looking over and approving of these cards. She got a cookie. And I also want to thank Storm Wolf for helping me test out this new deck. He also runs an armor deck. His is a little bit more consistent than mine. And we worked things out. Chibi was with us, and we worked through all the bugs and what have you. There were a few bugs that popped up for this deck, but we were able to hammer most of them out. So I haven't run into a lot of the bugs, but thankfully when I do it with Stormwolf, we were able to get through them, especially with some of the cards like Psychic Armorhead. There was some glitches that were involved, and they've been smoothed out. So I want to thank both Stormwolf for dueling me with his armor deck against my pitiful armor deck, because his was a little bit more fully realized. As you know, I just like to use a full pure build of the deck, and then go over what works and what doesn't work, and what can I add to make it better. So he gave me some ideas. Unfortunately, I forgot to save the freaking replay, so I lost all of the tips I got from that duel. So I'm sorry, Stormwolf. I really wanted to look over those tips. I should have been taking notes and what have you, but still, nevertheless, if you two are watching, Stormwolf, Chibi, thanks for this deck, for helping me with this deck, and thanks for making a guy's dream come true. Now, as for this deck, the armor deck only appeared in one arc of the anime, particularly the first anime, called the Awakening the Dragons arc, or the Doom arc for a lot of you purists out there, that involved the Seal of Orichalcos. Some of the Seal of Orichalcos cards are on the Salvation server, so if you want to play with those, they have those too. So the armor deck was used by one of the antagonists, a man named Valon, who had a pronounced Australian/British accent, and they revolved around cards that could attach physically to him, and he would physically beat the crap out of you. I mean, his duel with Joey was nothing more than a glorified fist fight with cards. So yeah. So not all of Valon's cards made it, just like one or two, but these are ones I've worked out for. So let's get started. But first and foremost, before everything, we have to start with this card. This is Psychic Armorhead. It's an Earth monster. It's a 4-star machine. All the armors are machine Earth monsters, so that's that. Its Psychic Armor Head has 0 attack, 500 defense. This is a pitiful card if you're trying to go any attack or go on the offense, but its effect makes it the core of this deck. Let's look at it. During your draw phase, instead of conducting your normal draw, you can add 1 armor monster from your deck to your hand. During your standby phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you do not control a Psychic Armor Head, you can special summon this card in attack position. Oops. Going back down. You special summon this card in attack position. You must control no monsters except armor monsters to activate and resolve this effect. You cannot special summon other monsters this turn except for armor monsters. This card cannot attack and is always treated as an armor card. And this last part in parentheses, all the armor cards have this little effect. Only 1 armor monster can attack per turn. If you control 2 or more armor monsters and one is selected as an attack target, you can change it to another armor monster. So let's go over the first one a bit. The draw phase allows you just to pretty much search for whatever armor monster you want in your deck, whatever fits the situation, because this is sort of a toolbox of sorts. It's very adaptable, very flexible in a way that it can adjust its strategies on the fly. So, and Psychic Armor Head makes it so that you can pretty much search out any one that you want to fit the situation. If it's during your standby phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you don't have a Psychic Armor Head, you can just special summon in attack position. No other prizes. If it's in your graveyard and if you have nothing but armors on the field, summon it, and you want to summon it, because this little beauty is the core of the deck. It is the head of the deck. Not only does it special summon itself after every turn, at the start of your turns in case it gets destroyed, but you can also do some searching with it in case it remains on the field. So there's that. And a lot of the spells and traps focus around him. So as Stormwolf said, if you don't draw to this guy in the first 1 to 3 turns, you're going to get your ass handed to you. So if you want him at least in your hand on your first turn or in the graveyard for your first turn, so you can set up for the rest of your plays. Run 3, they're worth it. Alright, next we have the chess piece, Active Guard. Earth Machine, 4 stars of course. 0 attack, 2,500 defense. If this was actually in the game, or it's going to be sort. If this was actually in the game, this would be the highest 4-star defender outside of Big Shield Gardner. Big Shield Gardner is ass, but let's look at what it does. This card gains 500 defense for each armor monster you control. If you would take battle damage, you can activate this card's effect. You take no damage this turn, but this card is destroyed at the end of the battle phase. And it's always treated as an armor card. First and foremost, 2,500 attacker, and for each armor card you have on the field, it gains 500. So with this and 4 others, you gain plus 2,000. With a full field of armor cards, you're looking at a 4,500 defender. And not a lot is going to get over that. And the secondary ability is just in case your opponent tries to jump over your life points, you can just activate this, absorb that damage, and it pops itself. So I run 3 because I like it. Next up we have Jet Gauntlet. 4-star monster, 0 attack, 1,500 defense. If this card battles your opponent's monster, you can destroy both monsters at the start of the damage step without applying damage calc. This is pretty good for those cards that can't be destroyed by battle, since you can just pop it, or if it's just you're dealing with that really big, beefy motherfucker that's on the field and you have no way around it, Jet Gauntlet's a good way to get past him. I'm only using 2, but this is still a testing phase. Next we have Overboost. 4-star, 0, once again 0 attack, 1,000 a point defender. It has only one unique effect. Armor monsters you control cannot be armor monsters you control can attack your opponent directly. When I was using this, when I was playing this deck against Stormwolf, I had a hard time getting over his monsters. Then I remembered Overboost. I played him, and then I was popping him for 1,000 points every other turn. It would have gone either way, but I had a life point deficit, and he was just pounding away at my life points. But it wasn't something that you could really get over on, or really. So this is a good way to get over on monsters, on those really strong monsters that you just can't overpower or take out with effects. This is a good way to just pop over them and just bam, nice 1,000 points of damage. Now you're not going to be attacking with this thing. This is just merely as a means of getting over. Next up we have Black Hole Shield. 4-star, 0 attack and defense. You won't be attacking with this, but you will want it for its other effect. If a face-up armor monster you control is targeted for an attack, you contribute this card. This turn, that monster can't be destroyed by battle. You take no battle damage from battles involving that monster. So, if you can redirect it to another monster, tribute this, and your opponent can't destroy that monster. You can keep doing this as long as you have another armor monster on the field because they redirect attacks. So, I'm running 3 because of Stormwolf's suggestion. Thanks, bro. Next up, we have Big Bang Blow. Stormwolf's personal favorite armor card. 4 stars, like the last one, 0 attack and defense. Why does he love it? If this card is, well, this is actually a different one. I'm sorry. This is if this card were destroyed by battle and you sent to the graveyard while you control 2 or more monsters, destroy all monsters on the field and then inflict 500 points of damage to both players for each monster destroyed. This is a cool little way to do some extra burn damage and clear the decks for everyone. And thanks to the support that armor monsters have, you can clear your entire deck, but it really won't matter in the end because as long as Psychic Armor Head's in the graveyard and can special summon itself, you can always just get back what you lose. So I'm running 2. Now this is what his real favorite card. This is Buster Pile. 4-star, 0 attack and defense. This card can't be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from attacks involving this card. At the end of the damage step, if this card attacked a monster, destroy that monster, and then inflict 500 points of damage to your opponent. This is what was kicking my ass during our duel. He just sure it has no attack, and it just kept coming in and ramming my monsters and just popping them, and for each one he destroyed, I was taking 500 points of damage, and I was eating damage and eating it and eating it. This is a good way for those cards, to get past those cards that can't be destroyed by battle, but it's also a good way to do some burn damage, so I'm running 2. Next up we have Buster Knuckle! If you control no face-up, okay, 3-star, 0 attack, 1,000 defense points. If you control no face-up armor monster, you can special summon this card. You can, but cannot summon this card. This card gains 200 attack for each face-up armor monster you control. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict pierce damage to your opponent. The 200 attack isn't really going to make matters much because at best you're going to be able to get it up to like 1,000 attack at best with all the monsters on the field. The trample is nice, but I'm just going to run 2 just for situational purposes. Nothing more. Next up we have Burning Knuckle. Earth, of course, is a 3-star, 0 attack, 1,000 defense. This card gains 200 attack for each armor monster you control. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, it loses attack equal to this card's attack. So this is a good way to weed down those much stronger monsters your opponent has. And at best, of course, it's going to be doing 1,000 points of damage. And it's also a good combo with along with Buster Knuckle. This is Burning Knuckle and Buster Knuckle are good combos with overboost because they can just jump over your opponent and just do the damage. But this is a good way to weed down your opponent's stronger monsters until they get to a manageable size where you just kill outright. Range. Next we have Trap Boost Buster. 0 attack and defense. Negate the effects of your opponent's trap cards that targets 1 armor monster you control. This is good for those single targeted trap cards that what is it? Spellbinding Circle, Shadow Spell, Fiendish Chain, Skilled Prisoner, Magic Cylinder, what else? Does Dimension Prison target? I don't know. I really haven't checked the ruling on it. I think it targets, but I don't know. Compulsory evacuation units, bottomless trap hole. I think it targets. I don't know. Any trap card that targets, this stops it. It just like says, you know what? Fuck you. You don't get your trap. Running 2. Alright, as before, I'm going to run over, first, that's for the spells and traps, I'm going to run over the ones that are archetype specific, and then go to the extra ones. So, first we have the spell card, Phoenix Gravitation. If you control a Psychic Armorhead, special summon 4 armor monsters from your graveyard. All monsters summoned by this effect are destroyed during the end phase. You cannot special summon monsters this turn except armor monsters. So this is a good way that for all the monsters that you'll probably be losing and filling up the graveyard with, this is a good way to get them back. And of course, it focuses around Psychic Armorhead. You want to have this guy out. Get this guy out. That's all I'm saying. So I'm running 2. Next we have Full Armor Gravitation. If you control a Psychic Armorhead, this guy, you can excavate the top 10 cards of your deck and special summon as many armor monsters as excavated as possible, and banishing the remaining ones. You cannot special summon other than armor monsters for the turn. This is cheese right here. This, combined with this, essentially means you're going to have a full field of monsters if you have the sufficient enough cards. So you can just pretty much armor yourself up and then just go crazy with this. Full Armor Gravitation. Run in 3. Gotta love it. Next we have Armor Gravitation. If you can, like with the previous one, if you control a Psychic Armorhead, special summon up to 4, count them 4, level 4 or lower armor monsters with different names from your deck. And you can't special summon except armor monsters for the rest of the turn. I used this. This was awesome. At first I thought it was just, I didn't really read it that much, and I thought it was just special summon 1 level 4. That kind of blurred out on me. But yeah, this way you can just pick and choose which pieces of armor that you want to fit the situation. So go ahead and run 3. And finally we have Mag Armor. Target 1 armor monster in your graveyard, special summon it in face-up attack position, but it's destroyed at the end phase. You're going to have a graveyard full of machines, no question about it. This is a good way to get that one specific piece of armor that will help you out. So I'm running 3. And of course, it doesn't specify which armor. It just says armor card. So, good way to get Psychic Armorhead out and then play Phoenix Gravitation, Armor Gravitation, or Full Armor Gravitation. So, now we move on to the extra ones. We have Machine Duplication, a suggestion by my Armor Cohort Stormwolf. Select 1 face-up machine with 500 or less attack. Special summon up to 2 cards with the same name from your deck. This is a good way of deck fitting and searching out those pieces of armor that you have on the field, and since they all fall under 500 attack, and most of them have 0 attack, you'll be able to search out anything that you want. So I'm running 2. I didn't get the idea to use this. Foolish Burial. Send 1 monster from your deck to the graveyard. I use this primarily to get to this. Send this to the graveyard, set shit up. I think there are more better ways of sending shit to the graveyard. I might actually throw in Mathematician to this deck, because I might actually do Mathematician. Mathematician would help this deck out a lot, so I'm considering Mathematician. So you can only run 1 of these, even with anime decks. You still gotta follow the rules. So one of these, this only should be used to ditch this. None of these, you should never ditch for none of these. Oh, and I forgot 1 armor monster, Double Claw Armor. It is the highest level armor monster in this deck. It is a 6-star monster. This card cannot attack. If this card is attacked by an opponent's monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half that monster's attack, and destroy both monsters without applying damage calculation. Of course, it is treated as an armor monster. I haven't had a chance to summon this, but I'm teching 1 in. I just want to see what I can do with this. Of course, I'm just gathering data. I'm just as new as everybody else, so yeah. Finally, for the main deck, we have Solidarity. you'd be foolish not to play this. Continuous spell card. If you have one originally printed type monster in your graveyard, face-up monsters you control will have the same type, gain 800 attack. And since all of these all the armor monsters are machine types, so you're basically going to be doing a lot of damage. All the overboost suddenly comes alive because now these piddly 1,000 attackers suddenly become at the very least 1,800 attackers, at the very most I don't even want to imagine. And they can just hop over your opponent's life monsters and just start pounding away at them for free. And if they try to attack Buster Knuckle or Burning Knuckle, then it's just redirected to one of your lesser armor monsters. So there you go. I'm going to play 1. I may change this up to 2 depending on how well testing goes. So, like I said, we're just gathering data. There are other armor monsters, but they're not really worth your time. There's another shield armor, but it has no effect aside from just being an armor monster. Alright, for extra deck purposes, this is just for a pure build of the machine card. This is just a pure build. This can change over time depending on my preferences, depending on your preferences if you like. Gigant X. Gigant X. Rank 4 exceeds monster machine. 2,300 attack, 1,500 defense. Not much of an attacker, but comes in handy at times. It needs 2 level 4 machine type monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 1 exceed monster from this card. Add 1 level 4 or lower machine monster from your deck to your or your graveyard to your hand. When this card leaves the field, you can target a level 3 or lower Gigant monster, special summon that monster. Now, this is primarily a searcher. This is just for searching. Ditch, of course, it's easy to make with any one of your level 4 armor monsters. It's pretty easy to make. If you have Psychic Armor Head, then you can just bring it back next turn, then summon one of these bad boys and just go crazy. Or if you have this on the field and you can summon one of these other bad boys, hook it up, search for Psychic Armor Head, let the deck run itself. I'm running 3. The secondary effect is useless because you're not going to rerun in the Gigant X, the Gigant variety. So, that is the armor deck profile, probably the first in YouTube history. Now, like I said before in my previous videos, this is just my build of the deck. You don't necessarily have to follow this to the letter or to the card. These are merely my tips, and these are merely the cards that I found work exceptionally. They work well for the deck and work for me. If you have any, you can change it to adjust your taste. This is not a perfect deck by any stretch of the imagination. If you can look up a guy on. If you go on the Salvation forums, look up a guy named Stormwolf. He has a better variant of this, and like I said, the guy does better work. I mean, he just has an innate understanding of this deck. So, if this is just a starter video, it's like a starter deck. This just gives you an idea of what the deck can do and what the monsters can do. You don't necessarily have to copy this, and it's not necessarily going to win you duels. I'm still testing this deck. So anyway, that's the armor deck. If you like what you see, link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions, comments, tips, or strategies involving armor monsters? Leave it below and I'll get back to you. Got any questions? You like what you see? Want to support the channel? Just click on an advertisement or two. It really helps out. Or if you want to donate directly, the tip jar is up in the corner. Just drop $1 in the bucket. I can afford a taco, but I won't be getting a taco because I'm still under the weather. So, that's my armor deck. So, that's my deck. And my video. So, till next time, it's Shin Tiger Curl, that dude with the straw hat, saying good morning and cheerio, mate.